to the session, an experimental investigation of Bhima River sand. Myself, Mr. Chetanji Konapure, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. Now, this is the learning outcome for this session. So, after this session, the student will be able to study the variation in the percentage passing of river sand of different locations. Now, this is an entirely experimental study. The Bhima River is near to the Solapur city and nearby the talukas. So, the river sand source is for us is the Bhima River, and for the locations are finalized by the government, and for these locations the sand samples are collected, and those sand samples are brought to the laboratory, and the particle size distribution test is carried out, Sieve analysis is carried out, and the results are considered and compared with the specification of IS 383/2016. Now, this is grading curve limits for zone 1 to 4. These are the 4 zones of fine aggregate which represent the percentage passing limits. Now, in the x-axis, if you consider the sieve sizes are there for the fine aggregate, and on y-axis the percentage passing. Zone 1, there are 2 lines in which the lower limit and upper limit, that is the range for the zone 1, range for the zone 2, lower limit and upper limit, range for the zone 3, lower limit and upper limits are given, and zone 4. And once again, I am just taking a revision as it was discussed in earlier video also regarding the specification of the fine aggregate, that if zone 1 to 4, if you observe sequentially zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are the values also. Zone 1 is a coarser material and zone 4 is a finer material. So, as you go towards zone 1, 2, 3, 4, coarse to fine is the travel. Now, this is the tabular form results for grading of the fine aggregate as per IS 383. Percentage passings are given for 4 zones, and if you observe these 4 zones, so zone 1 is more coarser. As you come to zone 2, 3, it is becoming finer, and if you go to 4, zone 4, the material has become very finer. Now, now this is the sample location, exactly photograph is taken. Sample location of the gut number or survey number 5B, 7, 8, 25 or 33. 5 locations are selected nearby Aus Bandara, which was one of the location on Bhima River, and the 5 samples of sands were collected. Right now, seasonally there is a water also. This table 1 shows you sieve analysis of the sand. Source is Aus village, Bhima River in the South Solapur Taluka. Now, these are the sieve sizes, and for 5 samples the abbreviations are given AU 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means Aus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you observe, the percentage passing for all these samples is 4.71, near about 92 to 95, 96. For 2.36, it is, if you observe, somewhat it starts from 78 and it goes up to 91 also. And 1.18 mm, if you consider near about, it is in the range of 65 to 70. 600 micron, most important sieve size, and it is in between 29 to 32, near about 300, 150, then the finer values are there, and the fineness modulus, if you observe, it is near about from 3.77 to 3.98, and the percentage passing of all those 5 sizes are compared with the zones. All the samples zone 1 to 5 belongs to 1. Now, the graph is also plotted here, if you can see. So, sample 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, sample 1 is AU1. If you observe the sample 1, so that it is little finer. So, 1 is very finer, and last is this greenish yellow color is there, and it is sample 2. So, from different 5 locations the sand is collected, and all the sand samples are belonging to zone 1. So, what is our conclusion for the Aus? The sand belongs to Aus location is zone 1, and this is the graph of percentage passing. Now, let us go to the second one more location, that is the village Barur. That survey number is 2 13, 26, 45A and 57 on same Bhima river, and it is far away from the house also. Now let us see the percentage passing. For the sieve analysis of the sand is shown here. For Barur, 5 samples are collected from these 5 guts, and the sieve sizes are given here, and the percentage passings are given. And the values, if you observe, Barur BA1 to 5 are the sample designated. Now BA2, 3, 5. The percentage passings are matched with the different zones. The BA2, 3 and 5 means second, third, fourth, fifth sample belongs to zone 1. You can also check this percentage passing with this graph or this table. So according to that you can decide the percentage passing. Sample number 1 and sample number 4, these 2 samples belongs to zone 2. So 3 samples belongs to zone 1, 2 samples belong to zone 2. Now this is the graph for this. Sample 1 is BA Barur 1, and this green line is BA 5. So measure to 3 samples from zone 1, 2 samples from zone 2. This is the graph which is shown here. So 2 samples which are going on the higher side, these are the zone 2 samples, and the lower lines are showing zone 1 sample. Now third location is the village Nandni on Bhima same river. For these gut numbers, let us see the sieve analysis of sand for Nandni village. There are again 4 samples, and the abbreviation given for this Na 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now again these values are available here, and these values if compare with the tables, every sample 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the samples belongs to zone 1. So most important thing is that we should focus on the 600 micron, and in the 600 micron, if you observe, as compared to the earlier 2 samples, the 600 micron sizes are found low in Nandni side. Okay. Now all the samples belong to zone 1, that is important here. Now this is the percentage passing graph for Nandni village. Sample 1 is red, this sample, and sample 5 is green. So the percentage passing for natural sand collected from 5 different gut numbers at source Nandni is studied. All samples belong to zone 1, but these samples are coarser than sand of source house. The first sample house was considered, and according with respect to that, this sample is coarser. Nandni is coarser than house and Barur. Now this fourth location is village Kandalgaon on Bhima river. These are the gut numbers from which the samples are collected. Now sieve analysis of sand for Kandalgaon, these values are given, and for these values, if you observe, K is the abbreviation given for the Kandalgaon, K 1 to 5 samples. Now the 4.75, 92 to 95. Okay, so let us see the 600 micron, which is one size which is differentiating the zones. So 37, 33, 32, 29, 27. And if you observe these 2 samples, K1 and K2, these samples are having higher content of 600 micron fines. And 3, 4, 5 are, as you are going towards 3, 4, 5, the 600 micron contents are reducing. Now zone wise, if you consider, let us see the graph. This is the graph for Kandalgaon samples. Red is the first sample, K1, and green is the K5. Now, if you consider the graph, there is no much variation, but only this first sample K1, that is having zone 2. Now 5 different samples are studied, and K2, 3, 4 belong to zone 1, and the sample of sand K1 belong to zone 2. But this is closer to upper limit of zone 1. So, but these sand samples are coarser than sand of source Barur. So as compared to the Barur sample, this is very coarser. So K1 zone 2, but near to, closer to upper limit. Now next, last location is the Takli on Bhima river. This is village Takli. 5 gut numbers are given, and these 5 gut numbers are going to give us the 5 samples. These are so TA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the abbreviations for 5 locations of the 5 guts. So percentage passings are given. Now let us observe this percentage passing 4.75, 2.36. All the values are compared to the zones. Then in the 600 microns, if you observe that the zone first sample is having very high content of 600 micron size, and next 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, the 600 micron values are less, and for fourth again it is very high, 41. So the graph is also plotted, and if according to this graph you can see here this red sample is the first sample which is lifted here. For this portion the percentage passing high, for 600 is high, that's why it belongs to zone 2. Now for 5 these samples, the samples of the sand TA2, 3, 5 belonging to zone 1, the samples of sand TA1, TA4 belonging to zone 2 but closer to the upper limit of the zone 1. So zone 1 but closer to the upper limit, that is the important point here. So these are the samples. If you observe all these villages and all the samples, nearby 25 samples were collected, and in 25 samples a majority of the sample belongs to zone 1, and that is again closer to zone its upper limit. So for 5 locations the samples tested, 25 samples tested. So this is the reference for the current session. Thank you.